Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Mac Story.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. Today we're on part 10 of 17 of the Managing People versus Leading People series. And there's a big difference. If you've been listening to the series so far, you've probably got a good idea now of what we're talking about when we say managing people versus leading people. A lot of people hear that term, but they don't really understand it. And again, a lot of times people think when we're talking about managers, we're talking that management is a bad thing. It's only a bad thing when management is occurring to people, when we're trying to manage people. That is a bad thing. But management, for what is meant for, is a good thing. We must do it. We should be excellent managers of things and processes, but we should choose to lead people. So today we're on part 10, and we're talking about the area of concern today. What are managers concerned about? What are leaders concerned about? And in each one of these episodes I'm doing, I could talk probably for hours, maybe days on these to dig down into it. And so I'm just picking one area of concern and just talking about it, just so you can kind of compare and contrast and see the difference. There's all kinds of areas of concern, more than just the one I'm going to tell you today. But I'm kind of picking on a highlight. So for managers of people, when someone in a formal authority position, a boss, when a boss is managing the people instead of leading the people, they have a strong desire to be right. You know, they're those people that if they don't know, you can't tell them. You know the ones I'm talking about. They're not only bosses, they could be co-workers and teammates. But if they have that mindset now and they get promoted, they're going to have that mindset in the future. And that's a management mindset, manager of people mindset. So managers have a strong desire to be right. Managers of people. They don't like to be challenged because they like to be right. If somebody's challenging them, they feel like they're wrong. You got to remember, again, managers are very insecure. Managers of people are insecure people. That's why they're managers of people and not leaders of people. So these managers quickly become defensive when they're questioned by others. And one of the main reasons is managers of people allow their pride and ego to guide them through life. And you know these folks. They're out there. They're everywhere. And I'm trying to do my part and asking you to do your part. I'm trying to grow and develop myself into a high-impact leader constantly and continuously. I'm always going to be under construction. I'm trying to help you grow and develop. And I'm hoping you're going to help me grow and develop other people, because it's up to us to change the culture of our country and our world. But we start with ourselves and our family, and then it goes into our organization, and then our community and our country and the world, that sort of thing. So the concern of a leader, remember, the manager has a strong desire to be right. Someone with a leadership mindset, those leading people, have a strong desire to do what is right. Being right and doing what is right is completely different sometimes. If you're doing what is right, that is the right thing to do. But just to be right in spite of what is right, that's the wrong thing to do. So leaders of people encourage others to stand up for what they believe. Because leaders, as they lead, they're trying to do what's right. So they need the team and the people to stand up for what they believe is right. So leaders intentionally synergize with others in order to verify what's right. The leader's idea usually is the team's idea. And that won't just work if you just decide, if you've been a manager for the last 10 years and you decide today to walk in and become a leader and live leadership principles, your team probably is not the team that you actually need. You may have to grow and develop them to become the team you need, or as people leave and you replace them, you're looking for higher character, leadership type mindset in all of the people. But leaders of people, their humility strengthens them. Remember, managers of people, their pride and ego guide them. But when it comes to leaders of people, their humility strengthens them. So high impact, secure leaders excel in the area of concern about doing what's right. They do not worry about being wrong because they're humble. The only thing they concern themselves with is doing what's right. They don't care who provides the information needed to help them do the right thing. Their only concern is with getting the right information and taking the right action. Being approachable is a key character trait for leaders when it comes to concern. Managers of people, they're not very approachable. You know it, and they know it. They go out of their way to not be approachable. You know, some of them are just jerks, and they're jerks to everybody because they have to do less when people talk to them less. So if I can be a jerk where nobody wants to talk to me, I don't have to do a lot, and I don't have to be responsible for a lot. But if I want to be a person of character and be very approachable, people share lots of information with me. They bring lots of problems to me because they know I'll work with them and synergize with them to help eliminate the problem or overcome the problem or the issue or the opportunity, whatever words you want to call it. But that's about leading people. I remember I used to work with a guy. Oh, it was terrible. He was a leader, a manager over a inventory, a set of inventory in this company I was working in. It's been many years ago, but I was an employee in that company. And anytime I had to talk to that man about delivery, because he would determine delivery, and I was in a position where I dealt with salespeople and customers, and I had a lot of interaction with the folks over the warehouse and inventory, and he was the manager. So when we needed expedited inventory or we had to have something specially produced, how long was it going to take? Or if it was already on the shelf, how quickly can we get it to them, and that sort of stuff. And it wouldn't matter if I talked to the man on the phone or if I walked over, if I emailed him. The man was about rude as you could imagine someone being, whether they're a leader or not, but he was actually the leader. And he was rude to everybody. This guy, he's not a nice thing to say, but he was an idiot when it came to being rude. And most people wouldn't talk to him. Even people I worked with who needed the same information that I needed. Instead of talking to him, a lot of times they would just guess based on the past. And instead of going to talk to the man, they would just guess and offer some estimated delivery date. But the guy was a jerk. He was a jerk to people in production. He was a jerk to people in engineering. He was a jerk to his own team. He was even a jerk to outside folks. Pitiful example of a manager of people. He had a position and title, and it allowed him to do what he did because no one would follow that man if they had to. All of us despised him. And I'm much better now. I've improved a lot, but at that time in my life, I hated that man. I hated who he was as a person. And it was his character. I didn't know all this stuff back then. I had never read all of these books. But I'm not the only one that has to deal with people like that. If you got any size company whatsoever, there's people like that in your organization. They may or may not be leaders. It's terrible when they are the leader. I can tell you this, when there's a leader like that in your organization, it tells you a lot about the top leaders of your organization because they're allowing that to happen. I didn't understand all that back then. I used to think, why they let this guy work here? It's because he was like them. If he was not like them, they would have got rid of him. That guy would never be on my team, ever. 0 days. But he was allowed to work there years and years. I mean, he probably worked there till he retired, probably with 30, 40 years of service. ridiculous, but I've seen that before. And if you've listened to some of my sharing in the past, I had a bad attitude as an operator. I wasn't rude to people like he was as a manager. I was just a frontline entry-level guy, and I was just an idiot. I didn't like people in general. I talked about the people who wouldn't work hard. I got promoted 14 times. It was in that same exact company. I got promoted 14 times in my career. That's not just that company. It's also another company. But most of the promotions out of the 14 in my 20-year career, most of them were at that one company. I should have been fired 100 times, but I got promoted a bunch of times. So even when I was on the front line, I still had a management mindset, manager of people. I was just focused on me doing a good job, and if anyone else didn't want to do a good job, I would point them out. So I was a jerk in a different way. That guy was a jerk to everybody in general. I was a jerk to low performers or people of low character. I didn't know how to help people, so I would just blame people. So I hope you guys nugget or two out of today's focus on concern. But remember, manager's desire is to be right. A leader's desire is to do what is right. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.